Hey everyone, did some more keys on the PTR. I have a 12 Halls of Infusion here. It was fortified. Let's talk about talents and trinkets. This is live, but I don't think it really matters. Here's the talents I played. Because it's the PTR, I've just been messing around with a bunch of different combination of talents. This one, some people are saying Flash and Claws might be better with the new tier set or the Season 2 tier set. I don't know. I don't think it really matters. I think Bear's one of those tanks where with talents that you play don't really matter. As long as you understand the fundamentals and you have decent knowledge of the dungeon you're doing, you can really play whatever you want. This one was feeling pretty good though. I do really like Survival of the Fittest. It makes, I mean, I typically send my defensives a lot, so having the extra uptime on Barkskin and more uses of Survival Instincts does feel really nice. Um, Double SI, yeah, feels good. I did run movement speed talents here for no particular reason. This isn't really a dungeon where you're going to be kiting a lot or moving, so you don't need this. You can take remove corruption if your healer doesn't have a poison spell or your group just lacks poison spells overall. You can take this and you can dispel the frogs, the little frogs that melee people that apply that poison. You can dispel those. Although from what I've seen, it doesn't really look like the poison does a lot of the damage. It looks like it's more so just getting meleeed by them, which shouldn't happen in the first place, but this is an option if you like. For trinkets, I was actually just running what I run on live. So I was running Cheat Death and Ferox. I think both of these are still going to be really good going into Season 4. Even though we won't be able to get a super high item level stone scales, item level doesn't really matter on a Cheat Death. You just kind of use it for the effect. And the one thing I really like about Ferox is how it's constant fire damage, which means if and or when I get the fire rings from Vaulted Incarnates, this is just going to give me a very easy passive way to proc those rings. Although we guess you do kind of get fire damage from Rishans and Helm Enchant, but I still think Ferox is going to be really good, really strong on use. Let's get into the Gi though. Halls Infusion can be scary, but a lot of the damage here is avoidable, which I'll talk about as we go. In this first area, really the only, like, if you ever die here, it's more than likely going to be because you stood in Spear Flurry. They did change it a little bit on how it functions. It's now, you can actually see it on the ground when it's being cast, so you can just sidestep it. If you do stand in it, like if you just don't move, it does a ton of damage. Like it's constantly reapplying the bleed, and just the like initial hits of it itself does do a lot of damage. That's why you kind of see me moving here. Whenever I notice Spear Flare being cast, I try to step out of it. Yeah, but with the new, or I guess I keep saying new, but with the old Season 2 tier set that we're getting, I'm trying to raise a lot more because it's doing 20% more damage. Every raise I do is going to give me a pretty big absorb shield with Urshock's Fury. Yeah, there's lots of important casts. Expulse is the big one that, like, if that goes off, you're probably gonna have multiple wipes depending on the key level. Demoralizing Shout, it feels terrible when it goes off, but it's not the end of the world. It's just a damage decrease. And then yeah, the beams got nerfed by like 40%, so they're still very scary. And if you have like a single target stun, you can just send it on them if things are looking dicey. But um, just really trying to get those demo shouts and expulse interrupts is really big. Yeah, because I'm running Survival of the Fittest here, I'm pretty much just pressing Barkstone off cooldown. You can chain these next two pulls together, but I just playing it a little safer here. This isn't exactly like the perfect route or anything. This is just kind of what I remember doing in season was this season 1 or 2? I don't even remember, but whatever season this is, this is the route I did. So when I'm in Incarn, one thing I really like doing is raising and mauling, because of just the talents I'm running. If I rate or maul and raise, and I just go between those two, I'm gonna be generating so much rage that I have no other option than spending it on Iron Fur as well. So because we're generating so much rage, every other global we're raising, so we're getting those big absorbs, and in a pull like this, we're pretty easily going to be at the armor cap as well. So you're basically invulnerable. The Yeah, this first area really easy. Bosses as well are pretty tame. There's no like I guess the last boss does have a Squall Buffet, which can do a lot of damage, but the main scary part is after the Gulping Goliath, the dragons, and the Ice Shards guys. Those do quite a bit of damage. But like I said, you can stop Ice Shards. You can't interrupt them, but you can incap them or Typhoon them. And then for the dragons, you can actually just outrange their breath by just walking away, which I will be doing because even on a 12/4, those things do a ton of damage. A lot of these pulls, when you initiate them, mobs are going to immediately start casting. So right there we have Demo Shout. You just kind of got to get ready for it. Some pulls will be multiple, so you'll have like a Demo Shout and an Expulse just right off the bat. So make sure you're going into a pull, you have either Roar or Typhoon ready. So yeah, as you can see right here, I'm alternating between Mangle and Raise and Incarn, and I have 8 stacks of Iron Fur. And because of Vicious Cycle, we're also maximizing the damage of Mangle and Raise. Yes, you see right here, multiple cast off the bat, cast Incap Roar, it's all good. Preemptively put down a Ursul's Vortex there, get ready to Typhoon the mobs, just in case they start casting. Which I don't even know if they do. I have a really bad habit of just like sending Ursuls, like thinking mobs are going to cast, and then they don't even end up casting. And I just waste it. So I do chain here. The reason I did that was because the Geomancers don't really do anything. The only mechanics that they have that I'm aware of is they do a leap to a player, which is just avoidable, and that's it. I guess they auto attack the tank, but that doesn't really matter. Pretty sure this our healer keeps dying because of the frontal. Yeah, as you can see, like it persists for a bit, so the bleed itself does do a little bit of damage, but as long as you're rotating through cooldowns, it's really not that bad. First boss here, I mean, in terms of like living it, it's very easy. As long as you just sidestep the frontal, there really isn't that much tank damage. So on this particular fight, I'm just going to be sending my Barkskins, Rage of the Sleeper, even Trinket, just off cooldown. Same with Incarn, just for damage. Since we're not running Galactic Guardian, I gotta be wary of maintaining Moonfire up. But yeah, like overall strategy of this fight did get reworked a little bit. Now the puddles don't like immediately, like when they drop, they're not huge. They slowly expand. Makes it a lot easier because I'm pretty sure you can just like outrun it now. Maybe you need like a movement speed buff, but I'm just gonna basically juggle between here and then just running to the left when the puddles drop. But as you see right there on the pole, popped everything: Barkskin, Rage of Sleeper, Trinket, and yeah, I don't know if I said it, but this boss really doesn't do that much damage, so I'm just gonna try to maul as much as I can. It's like the one good thing about this tier set is it kind of reinforces like spending as much as your rage as possible on your offensive abilities like maul and raise. I actually do. I think I said this in my last video, but I actually do prefer the season 3 tier set. I like the idea of spending more time in a defensive, and with the old tier set, with the season 3 tier set, um, whenever Rage's Sleeper ends, you essentially get just another defensive. I mean, it's like an ignored pain, but it just felt really good. And also the damage, it was just better. Like with this tier set, you really have to be thinking about mauling and raising as much as you can to try to maximize the damage potential of the tier set. But with the old one, is like even if you were just spamming Iron Fur, which a lot of people do, you were maximizing the absorb you were getting from the tier set, and the reflect damage was pretty significant, especially in hierarchies when you could consistently fully absorb it. So these orbs right here, they cast Purifying Blast, which you can stop. It'll do some damage, but the big thing is the circle around them. It's actually fake until they die. Once they die, that thing will explode and deal damage, but as long as the orbs aren't dead, you can actually just stay in the circle and not worry about it. You do need those circles to hit the boss though in order for him to get out of his immunity phase. So that's why I was Ursuling there, so I could run out of the circle and still have them hit the boss. So the boss had 20 stacks here. As you can see, like I don't really think it's ideal for these players to be running it out like this. Uh, I think it's still better to stack them and then run away as a group. This way, like the thing, the healer. I mean, everyone's running different directions and they're running really far away. So the healer is probably having a hard time healing people because they're out of range. Yeah, I mean they're literally running on opposite sides of the world here. This is kind of rough. This next area of trash, pretty easy. I I guess the mobs do auto attack kind of hard here. It always kind of catches me off guard. I don't really know what is auto attacking me so hard, but it's not that bad. Yeah, we don't go into this room here. We go hug a left. I know some people or a lot of people that push keys during this season did go into that room, and then you would just pull everything and just crowd control it, slow it, and whatnot, like the little frogs. But I think this way is it's pretty foolproof. A lot of the things in this area aren't that scary. We do skip these. The shock troopers do a cast. They're not particularly dangerous, but if it does go off, when they auto attack the something, or I guess the tank, it'll do damage. So skipping those. Right here, I go far. Like I'm pulling everything all the way down here. I think it's the zealots that actually auto attack pretty hard. So here you kind of want to look for a good, yeah, Ursul's opportunity. I mean, you want to try to keep everything as stacked as possible. The Swaglets don't have that much health. So if you can kind of just stack them all and just AoE them down, especially like since we have a Devastation Evoker and a Destro Warlock, I mean, things should just evaporate. That Dazzle cast, it's similar to like Spear Flurry. You can just sidestep it, but if you get hit as a tank, it is a disorient, and if you get hit by disorient, the mobs will basically like just drop aggro from you during the disorient and just start killing everyone, mowing them down. So this next play, you kind of have to be careful. Like as you can see, like I kind of like hug around it here and I early swipe. If the zealots hit you before you hit them, or like you get into like range, you will the cast went off right there. So when I get hit, you'll see all that damage that happened. But yeah, like the zealots will stun you if you get too close to them before you do damage or get aggro of them. And during that time, you could absolutely just die, since you can't, Iron Fur or defensive. I do send Incarn here just because like you can pretty comfortably chain. You can even like pull this pack with the next pack. It's just in a pug. It's kind of hard to communicate interrupts and stops because if a shock trooper does get off on a hierarchy, it's pretty much just a wipe. This girl, yeah, she spams casts the burst on the tank. It does hit kind of hard, but survival of the fittest, whatnot. Like we have so high uptime on defensives, it's really not that big of a deal. The scary cast is cauterized just because it makes the mob last a lot longer. Other than that, this pack's pretty chill. Next boss, the Goliath. It's like one of those bosses where if you're in a coordinated group, or not even necessarily coordinated, you're just playing with players that understand the strat of like stacking, baiting the frogs, then running away, CCing them. It's a very easy fight. It's just basically can you live the overpowering whatever thing, the AoE damage. But in a pug where everyone's so split, next fight can be pretty hectic. I don't know if we had lust, but lusting either the pack that we did before or this one is not a bad idea. Because like I said, like the next boss realistically isn't that difficult. But I suppose this isn't that bad. It's just having lust for the third boss. Pretty sure we would have it if we would have lusted either the pack before this or this one. Third boss is pretty difficult. It's just a constant rod fight. But we do have a Mistweaver, and I'm pretty sure Mistweaver is one of the highest HBS healers right now, so I don't think it'll be that big of a deal. This boss similar though to first boss. Like I'm just gonna pop everything when it comes up for damage. This boss doesn't really do that much tank damage. So yeah, apply Moonfire, get to 5 stacks of Thrash, and then it's basically just mangle, maul, and then spending any excess rage I have on Iron Fur. This first set of ads, the boss will always do his gulp like pretty much directly after he summons them, so that's why I didn't move that much. And yeah, utilize Typhoon as much as you can to keep as many in. You can also like in-cap roar. I mean, the in-cap will break pretty much immediately, but it'll stop the mobs for a split second, which can help. Same with Typhoon. Don't be afraid to Typhoon them back in to the circle. You do want to get eaten as the tank. If you don't get if no one gets eaten, the boss will enrage. You used to be able to soothe it, but now you can't. And if that goes off, it's probably just a wipe. Yeah, so like see here, ads are spawning. I'm gonna try to move away. That guy, I'm pretty sure just got hit by a swirly or something. See, one thing I did there was I ran away from that mob and I wild charged it. Wild charge is a root. Is he really good right there? This boss is getting absolutely melted. Our Shadow Priest is doing so much damage. It's kind of wild. Yeah, so when the boss is doing his leap right there, you still can hit him. We do have a long enough range. You can just pretty much keep 100% uptime on the boss. So yeah, like here it's a little awkward because like I have no idea which way to take the boss. Everyone is so spread out. They're all just, the Swoglets are going to run in different directions. This is like, here would be a good opportunity to remove corruption, some poisons. I probably will start taking it from now on. Could even use it on myself here. Whenever you get eaten by the swirly or whatever, the gulp from the boss, he applies, I think it's 3 stacks of the poison. Like I mean, even 5 stacks doesn't do that much damage to me. So yeah, pretty big here is you're gonna try to want to skip as many dragons as possible. Dragons used to not be that. I mean, they've always been dangerous, but back when Mass Spell was a shorter cooldown, you could pretty much just Mass Spell every single explosion from them. But now you can't do that. In this route, though, we do pull 1 dragon. So yeah, big things here, like I said earlier, is the Ice Color casting Ice Shard. I incapped that one to stop it, and then yeah, the Breath here. I do just tank the Breath here. I'm in Incarn, I have Trinket, like I'm pretty safe here. But once I start running out of cooldowns, I'm going to start outraging that. You don't have to run that far. You can see that Ice Shard right there. I'm an Incarn, and I still did about, I don't know, 40% of my health. Yeah, see? Just run away from the Breath. Oh yeah, the Gale Slingers did get a change. They now cast that Thunder ability. It just puts a circle on somebody that when the Gale Slinger finishes casting, it does some damage. I think it's like under 2, and it really, that one went off and barely moved that guy's health. Yeah, I don't know. I do stop it though, just because like might as well. This pull, double Ice Shards. As you can see, I trinketed that one, and I mean the trinket's like at least 2 mil absorb, and it just immediately evaporated. So yeah, like if you're playing in DPS, I know like a lot of DPS don't like to stop things that hit the tank because they just don't think about it, but definitely if you can, try to help out the tank here, especially if you're playing with like any other tank that's not Avenged Demon Hunter that just can't, is immortal. Helps a lot. So yeah, here we actually all end up dying. We fail to skip. I don't really know how, but I'll just skip ahead. Nothing exciting happens. Just yeah, someone butt pulls it. We all die. I run back. Res. This next boss also got some minor changes to like the visuals. It's a lot easier to know if you're in a safe position now, or if you're gonna get hit by a exploding ice thing. This boss does have like a tank mechanic. She'll target the tank and like throw an ice shard at him or whatever. Maybe if you have timers, you can see when it's coming out, but it's really not that scary. So yeah, you want to try to pull this boss pretty close to the ice shard that you're hiding behind, because as you can see, like you can still melee her through the wall. If you're playing with a spec like a Fury Warrior or any spec that doesn't have like really long melee range, if you pull it close enough, they should still be able to do damage. I'm pretty sure. But we have like full range, so it doesn't even really matter. Biggest tip with this boss that I can give is like you kind of just want to like always be looking at where you're gonna pull the boss. Like if it's too late, you pull the boss too late to a ice shard that's like maybe broken. I mean, it can just be kind of awkward. She'll always summon them after like during this glacial surge. Let's see right there. Like I see the one behind me is safe, so I'm gonna start immediately pulling her to it. And as like a DPS or healer, you just want to bait the Frost Cyclone away from the one that the tank is trying to bring her to. Because if that Frost Cyclone does hit the Ice Shard, it will shatter it. Or not shatter it, but it'll like put it into like the breaking stage, so when she casts Hailstorm, it'll break. This fight is basically just a healer check, to be honest. Like, tank damage, pretty chill. There's no real like intense mechanics that need to be done. It's just, can your healer out heal it? It's just a perma rot fight. This one's, yeah, as you see, like it can get kind of awkward, but boss is dead, doesn't matter. They did change the waves in this next area. Made it it feels so much easier. It feels like the waves just come out so much less, like less frequently. They're also, I think, slower now. There is some ice colors and there is a dragon here, so again, we're gonna want to be trying to stop ice shards if we can, or if we're weak in defensives. And the same with the dragon, we're gonna want to try to be outranging the breath. Same thing, like if we're weak. This first one though, I'm pretty sure I'm gonna tank it though. During Incarn, like if you're running, I don't actually remember what the talent is called, but it's the one in the bottom right, the Incarn talent that makes it so Frenzied Regen doesn't have a cooldown. As like, don't be afraid. Like if you're tanking the breath and you're doing a higher key, like don't be afraid just to kind of like spam Frenzied Regen. You're pretty much unkillable if you can do that. So the Ragers, the cast Tidal Divergence, I believe it's called. That is very scary if it goes off. It starts summoning these little ads that'll just start spam casting on everyone in the group. If even one goes off, you can probably expect some deaths. So here, I'm like looking behind me, seeing where the breath is, and I'm getting out ready to outrange the breath. You really want to like try to keep an eye on where the wave is coming, because if you run into a wave while the bot or the dragon is casting the breath, I mean, first off, you could just die, but you could also get knocked off, which I'm pretty sure the mobs will just start hitting everyone else. Like it's kind of like a Desorian a little bit. Only one ice call in this pack, so oh, right there, I interrupt into a wave. Didn't actually do that much damage to me, to be honest. So Lust is going to be up for this next mob. The mob that casts Inundate. That thing is wild how much damage it does. It even does a lot of damage to me. Yeah, this Infuser chick. Let's see. I think we actually have some deaths here. I'm not 100% sure, but yeah, as you can see, it does about 60% of the health. I do think lusting this is probably a good idea, but it doesn't really matter. This next boss, now that he phases only once, like, oh, it's so much nicer. I used to hate this boss, but now it's not even that bad. Because of like the nature of the fight, I'm pretty sure we're gonna be getting hit more with Squall Buffet, but I don't. It's really the thing with like bosses. Even like if a tank is like really weak against like a certain damage type, bosses damage like tank busters are usually very predictable. So you can just rotate through cooldowns, or you could bring like pulverize and be like pretty much just completely make bosses trivial. So these Ragers do constantly spawn. It is kind of annoying because, like, as soon as this Infuser Girls dies, I want to just sprint to the boss, but the thing is, like, if Tidal Divergence goes off, like I said, like, it's probably just GG, especially if you're pulling it onto the boss. So I've been thinking about, like, what I want to spend my dinars on more, and I think I'm pretty set. I mean, I don't know how many we're gonna get, but like let's just say theoretically we get like infinite. The ones I'm definitely looking at are Rashawn's weapon, Rage Heart, and the Broodkeeper ring. Those three are like definitely a lock in for me. Constant fire damage. Broodkeeper is just a solid defensive. I mean, it's literally like the best ring defensively. You just get a fully stat budgeted ring with a decent absorb proc on it. This boss during is it buffet or buffet? I don't even know, but the thing is, you really have to be careful when you get knocked back. If you get, like, the thing is, the orbs, if you walk into an orb, even as a tank, it does an insane amount of damage. Like, you can easily just evaporate if you stand into an orb. So you have to make sure not only that you don't want to make sure you get knocked back into an orb, but also if you wild charge or skull bash to the boss, you also want to make sure you don't go into an orb. It can be kind of tricky. This next part, like in a pug, is just kind of like annoying. I mean, like I'm like trying to wait for people to get here. We do have a priest who can like mind. I don't know what it is, like dominate mind or whatever, control mind control one, which is really helpful. I'm pretty sure a priest could, or not our priest, our evoker could sleepwalk one, and then our monk could paralysis one. But as you can see, that's not happening here. Nothing we can really do as a guardian druid. Just making sure that we're incapping and typhooning as much as we can to stop them. So here, yeah, the priest mind controlled one, so we're gonna drop it. I ping myself there just to let them know like I got the next one. Oh yeah, right here the mob kind of bugs out, kind of falls through the floor here. Does this actually go off? Yeah, that's actually so funny. I tried to roar it, but it was evading, so it didn't even work. So yeah, if you didn't know, if somebody dies like during the gauntlet phase and they're like really far away, they do get teleported when the boss becomes active again, so you can battle res them. You don't have to like worry about running all the way up. So here, like I'm trying to keep a constant eye on where the orbs are. We got pretty lucky here. None of them came towards me. Yeah, that was Incarn plus Rage of Sleeper. Pretty safe. If you can have like 2 things running during that, you're pretty much going to live any key level. Whether that be like Bark Skin, Rage of Sleeper, Incarn Bark, Incarn Rage, SI, something, literally anything. If you are weak on one for some reason, you like a lot of the time, you can just send a well-timed frenzied regen and be completely safe. And don't forget about renewal. Yeah, right there. That's SI plus Barkskin. As you can see, not dangerous at all. So yeah, there's the key. Let me pause quickly. So let me pause actually. So damage breakdown. Because we're running we're not running Moonfire Towns, we're running Flashing Claws. Dash is going to be a little bit higher. Because we're getting the constant thrashes and I guess 2 stacks of thrash. The dodge can do a little bit more, although it's not that significant. I mean, again, like I said, with the tier set, you're really going to want to try to be raising and mauling as much as you can. So a general rule of thumb is to like make sure raise is doing your top damage. I know like some people spam Iron Fur, and honestly, like sure that might not be 100% ideal, but especially during Incarn, I mean, just like the nature of the way the spell works, you're pretty much unkillable. So just trying to raise as much as you can during Incarn is a pretty safe bet to kind of really milk out the tier set. Same with Maws. You can see Maws 6.6% of my damage. Pretty much like 90, probably like 99% of this was just straight from bosses. Really, like you don't need that many stacks of Iron Fur on bosses. I mean, some sure, but a lot of bosses, like especially with Star of the Fittest, because we have such high uptime on defensives with like a 32-second cooldown Bark Skin, Rage of Sleeper, double SI, Incarn, Trinket, you can just spend like 90% of your rage on Maul and be still very safe. And then yeah, I do show my healing done. 20% increase maul and raise damage will increase Merciless Fury by quite a bit. Frenzied Regen is weird. Like, it really depends on the key. Like, in this key specifically, it might be a little higher just because, I mean, like, you have the bleeds in the first area, which I wasn't that great at avoiding, so I had to use it a little bit there. And then you have the ice shards, which you want to, ideally be full health when you get hit by one, just so you don't, like, somehow get one shot. So frenzy regening there, but yeah. Wall of Haste is the trinket. Like, as you can see, like, I'm pretty sure Raychart is the best on-use defensive trinket. The absorb you get is massive. And it only has a minute 30 cooldown. The damage it does is also pretty good. I'm pretty sure it's the best damage defensive trinket. And I guess the only downside of it is it has a verse instead of main stat. So something like Splinter that has main stat, or Enduring Dreadplate has main stat. Same with Granith's Scale thing has stat. So that's like the only downside of it. But I think the on use and the damage does makes up for it. And as you can see, like the Broodkeeper's Barrier Ring, just a free 8 mil over the course of the key, 4% of healing. That's really good for a fully stat budgeted ring. This is just a free effect. Yeah, definitely looking at picking up that. Cheat Death, I did proc once, but that was because we had to die, so I didn't even need Cheat Death this dungeon. I should have ran something higher damage, but oh well, I wasn't too confident going this key. But yeah, that was the run. I guess I'll show talents over time just in case we missed it. The thing is, like, one thing I want to say is, I think as long as you're like, so at the middle here, you have layered main, reinforced first, follow the fittest, afterloft fire, whatever. If you're playing like any combination of these talents, you're fine. Like, a lot of people will do something like this. This is fine, right? And the same with like flashing claws. Some people, I think, like, as long as you're playing these or these, you're gonna be fine. Bear talents aren't that. I mean, I guess they're impactful for sure, but a lot of Bears tankiness just comes from just literally just playing the game. Like, talents aren't that big of a deal. But I actually did really like how this was feeling, something like this. I mean, I always recommend just playing around with it, see what you like. As long as you're like, you got the fundamentals down, you're using your defensives, you're spending your rage, you're not overcapping. Really, it doesn't even matter. Just play whatever you find the most fun or whatever feels the best. That's all I have for today, though. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys have fun in Season 4. It's coming out in a couple weeks. I'll be playing a lot. Maybe even I'll start streaming those keys. I think that could be really fun. Trying to get it, to a 10 day one would be pretty sick to accomplish. So we'll see, though. Hope you guys have a good day, and I'll see you in the next one.